Good afternoon and welcome to the North American Auto Transportation Town Hall. My name is Lindley Davis and I'm the Vice President of Human Resources. As a company, our goal has been to increase communication and involve you in the conversation about what's going on in the industry and the company. Today, you will hear from the President, Riki Howard, and the CEO, Mike Griggs, to walk you through different updates of the industry and what's going on at North American. And then we'll conclude with answering some of the questions submitted by you. So let's go ahead and get started. Riki Howard, welcome to the call.
Well, thank you for having me, Lindley, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to everybody today. First and foremost, I would like to say thank you. These last 3 years that we've experienced in this industry are unlike anything I've ever seen in being in the industry 35 years. So my hat's off to you. I mean, you guys have been on the front line of this since the pandemic, part shortages, General Motors bankruptcies. It's been a hellacious 3 years. Now, with that being said, it's been dark, but the future's bright for what we've got going on. So I'm going to introduce Mike Griggs, who's our CEO and owner, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about the industry, what's going to happen in the industry over the next coming years, and what's going to happen to the overall organization going forward. So, Mr. Mike Griggs.
Hi, I'm Mike Griggs. It's great to meet you. I look forward to doing that in person. I feel like we've all been landlocked and locked in our homes for years thanks to this pandemic, but it's great to be able to start getting around in person again and traveling. So I'll look forward to trying to meet you in person. The purpose of me talking today is to give you a little bit of perspective about where we've been and where we're going. And the whole thing reminds me, I have a sort of a favorite book here called Endurance, and it's the story of Shackleton and a crew that he hired to cross the North Pole when it had never been done before. And it was, by all predictions, everybody there should have died. But they managed to get through it, accomplish their objective, and get back safely. It just took a long time to do it. That's sort of the story that I think for Jack Cooper over the last few years. We've gone through a restructuring in court. At the same time, we had the longest strike in probably 30 years with our largest customer, General Motors. And we said, yay, team, don't worry about it. 2020 is going to be our year. And we're starting to feel pretty confident about February of 2020. And then around the first week of March, got punched in the jaw as a planet, really, by this pandemic and the COVID crisis. I started working for General Motors in the early 70s as a college student. I can honestly tell you, in the 50 years now of being in this industry, never dreamed ever that we would have a situation where you would think that we closed the doors on every customer in the industry. And they did that for what, 3-4 months. So 2020 was not much better than the year from hell, which was 2019. But we said, no problem, go team, 2021 is going to be our year. And then, of course, as everybody now knows, the COVID-related part shortages started hitting. And the most notorious was clearly the chip shortage, which just knocked production down everywhere. But it was in a lot of ways in 2021 worse for the company than the shutdown and COVID in 2020, because we'd run 2 days and they'd tell us they're out of parts and we'd have to send everybody home. They'd tell us on Friday afternoon or Saturday to have everybody ready for Sunday night or Monday morning. Then Sunday night or Monday morning, they'll say the train didn't arrive or the plane didn't arrive. We got to shut the plant down. And they'd run 1 week, shut down another, run one plant, shut the other one down. Network was devastated. I think this was the hardest year to manage in my whole career. So for me, I think we've done exactly like Shackleton. We've gone through three really horrific years. But the good news I can tell you is that we've weathered the storm. And the old saying is pressure makes either diamonds or dust. And I think we're going to prove that it's made Jack Cooper and particularly the North American Auto Transport team diamonds. We're really excited about the future. We're now starting to look toward our 100th anniversary as a company. In 2028, this company will have been around 100 years. Not a lot of people can say that. We've had a relationship with General Motors for over 9 decades. Not a lot of people can say that. But most significantly, over the next couple of months, my number one focus now that we're back in solid financial shape is going to be refleeting and trying to get new equipment for everybody. That's going to be my priority. It's going to be my cause. It's going to be my mission. And I want everybody to know it's about 80% of my time right now. And we've got multiple paths to make that happen, raising equity, raising sale leaseback capital. I'm trying to turn over every pebble, not every rock, but every pebble to get financing. But we're actually code naming that project Next Century. You have to give a code name to any finance raise. And the reason we chose that is we've been around almost 100 years, but if we pull off this recapitalization, I think we have a chance to be around another 100 years. And what's particularly exciting is because we've had these down years, think about GM and their dealers. They've had a strike for 3 months in 19, then they've had a COVID shutdown. And then this year they haven't been able to keep the things running because they ran out of chips. Hell, one day they actually told me they were going to shut down a plant because they couldn't get tires. I've been in this business since the 50s. For 50 years, really since the 70s. Think about that. Did you ever dream you'd hear that a auto manufacturer couldn't get tires? That's how crazy this year's been. But the good news for us is now that we've weathered this, and think about it like a sailor on a ship in a stormy ocean. We've been thrown off the ship. We're in that water watching the waves crash over us. We're not trying to keep our head above water. We're just trying to keep one nostril above water. That's where we've been for really the last 2 years. But we're coming out of that, and it's almost like somebody's picked us out, put us back on the ship, put us at the steering wheel and says, now where do you want to go? And we've determined where we want to go is we want everybody to have new equipment. That's the number one priority. So I'm really excited because if you look at General Motors, because they've had all these down years, and then in addition to that, they got hot products. They've sold out their Corvettes for 18 months. They've sold out Cadillacs. Try to buy a Hummer. Try to buy one of their new products in the Cadillac range. That they put a Lyric up for sale, and they were going to have an allocation where they sold the first 6 months. I was looking for one for my wife, so I thought I'm going to go online and see if I can get in that lottery. 30 minutes after they started, they shut it down because they already had 6 months of orders in 30 minutes for the new Lyric. All these products that the customers are coming out with are hot sellers. And it turns out as they convert to electric, like the Lightning, like the Hummer, like the Mach-E, they're selling like hotcakes. So not only have they had 3 bad years where the dealers haven't been able to get this in historic low interest rates, there's tremendous demand, not just because of the market wanting new vehicles. And by the way, used vehicles are selling at a record pace as well. There's also hot products that are going to be there for the next 18 months. Now you take all that and say, well, that means great. You're going to have a great year. The problem is the dealers are all bone dry. Every one of the dealers you go to, if they used to have 500 vehicles, they're lucky if they have 20 or 30. It's a shock. General Motors on one of their calls told us it would take 106 full production days, 106 full production days just to replenish the dealer inventory. Problem is, how the hell are they going to do that when they're sold out for the next year, year and a half? So the great news is for us, they're going to do it by overtime. They're going to be doing it by raising production levels. We should have the best 3 or 4 years in our life. Now you throw on top of that, the General Motors CEO, Mary Barra, who a lot of people are calling a visionary by her conversion to EV, is now committed to the market in a public forum that General Motors is going to double their sales in the next 10 years. So not only do we have a record 3 to 4 years coming up as we snap back in this industry, the next 10 years, because of the new products they're introducing and the hot sellers, it turns out we're going to see record there. Now, there's another phenomenon that's going on where we seem to be taking business away from the railroads. And since they've always had the larger share, we don't have to take very much from them for it to be a much bigger deal for us. So the punchline of this whole speech is we're going to be going and blowing for the next 3 or 4 years, possibly the next 10. And I can't think of any company in the industry that's better positioned to capitalize on that growth than North American Auto Transport. You've got the right team, you got the right leadership. Ricky's phenomenal, and guys, I'm sure you know that, but he's one of the best leaders and most experienced in the industry. We're going to do our part as corporate to get you equipment. We're also going to try to do some innovative things to get you drivers. We've got a school here in Georgia. This isn't one of those 2 or 3 weeks to get your CDL schools. This is something where you take months, very professional. A lot of these people are ex-military. But when these guys come out, most trucking companies won't hire them because they want 2 years of experience. So they wind up going to people that burn them out. It's a shame. A lot of these guys are in their 20s. These are very athletic people. They're willing to work. Some of them military, serve their country. So we're thinking about having a plan to kind of ramp them up over 3 to 6 months, whether it's in regular trailers or hotshot trailers. We'll work all that out. But I bet you we could have 100 new drivers for Ricky in the next 90 days if he wanted them. So what better place than North American Auto Transport with your good team, your flexible work rules? We're going to be able to let you guys make a ton of money. And we realize we've had to work with some antiquated equipment, but frankly, we've been in so much debt for so many years. That's the reason we went through the restructuring to get our debt level down. And the next raise of capital will make us even less levered. We'll be one of the most financially stable companies in all of trucking. So we're working on that. We think we'll have that all answered in the first quarter of next year, and we'll start making some announcements. Maybe at the next town hall, we'll give you some specifics. But by the end of the first quarter, I'm hoping that means we can start giving a schedule and showing you when you're going to start receiving drivers, when you're going to start receiving trucks and new equipment. And as Ricky is going to explain here in a minute, you guys are getting opportunities coming out of the sky. It's like a meteorite shower with opportunities. And I don't want you to have to turn down a single one because you don't have drivers, or you don't have equipment. You're in the perfect area. As we've always said, if you'd like to have the opportunity to transfer into one of our bigger locations, you want to go to Wentzville or you want to go to Fort Wayne, we'll facilitate that. But our goal is to make it so attractive that North American's your home until you retire. We want people that are hiring their sons, their grandsons. We want this to be a multi-generational company. And I can't think of anybody that has the rocket ship growth potential that North American. And I want to say, as CEO and owner, I got to tell you, I'm just impressed as hell with the way you've tackled things. What, you've had like 1 injury in 3 years. That's historic, guys. You should high five yourselves. In fact, everybody listening, Ricky, you should let them buy lunch and charges to the company. This was celebrate. This is something to be proud of. And I think you guys, every time we take on new business, the feedback I get from customers, wow, North American does a hell of a good job. So I'm proud to be associated with you. I know my job is to make sure we get the capital structure right. My job is to make sure you have the equipment. My job is to make sure you have the drivers. But if we can get you guys all that with the leadership team that you have and the opportunities, you're almost going to have to brush them away, I have a feeling, over the next year. This is going to be a fun place to work. Thanks for hanging in there with us. And most importantly, thanks for the exceptional job you do. I'm very, very proud to be associated with you. I'll turn it over to Ricky, who will get more specific on some of the opportunities.
Well, thank you, Mike. And that's a hard act to follow, but I really want to talk, what I'm going to talk to you about today is specific growth for North American, whether it be in the Pacific Northwest or whether it be in the Midwest, wherever it may be, and how we're going about these opportunities. Pacific Northwest is our home base. It's where the organization was born. We've had some struggles up there in the last 3 years, I'll say, not just with COVID, but with different customer changes that we've had out there. But that's talking a little bit on the dark side, but on a positive side, there's tremendous growth opportunity. We just re-signed our contract with Ford to extend through the end of 2022. With the new models that are coming in, there's going to be substantial growth in volume just from new entrants into the market. So that's growth opportunity. We're also talking with General Motors, Stellantis, and some of the foreign imports up there as far as what can North American do to help you. And Very optimistic that we'll be hearing something about those in probably the next quarter or so. Specifically to the Midwest, Reeser, Louisiana has been one of our bright spots in the last year. We were awarded one contract down there, awarded a second contract in the facility earlier this year, and we've done a phenomenal job down there for our manufacturers. It's been tough going with all the ups and downs that have taken place in the site, but we've done a good job servicing our customer, keeping them happy in the facility. And there's more growth opportunity for Reeser, primarily in you've got multiple customers in the Reeser facility that we don't currently handle. Our goal is to handle all that product at some point. So that means tremendous growth just in the Reeser facility. But what we're also looking to do in that particular area is to expand our network touches. And what I mean by that is starting to develop our own internal North American network that will complement the Reeser drivers as well as any other type of North American drivers we have in the area. Specifically, you've got new plants going into the Austin area and some of these other places that will provide a perfect network solution for our company, which will allow us to better serve all of our overall customers in the area. So very excited about that. That should be taking place probably in the second quarter of 2022. Centerville is another tremendous win for North American this last year. Opening up in St. Louis, brand new facility for us. The work that they did in Reeser helped complement what we're doing in Centerville by we were awarded the Stellantis business there. And so as we continue to grow that business, and this will get larger over the course of this next year, we also are looking at how we can improve that network in that particular part of the world. If you think about Centerville, it's in the heart of their overall organization's network. And there's so many things that we can do in that particular area. And there's a lot of new entrants into the automotive market that are starting to crop up in the Midwest. A lot of EV manufacturers, specifically Lordstown Motors. We're in discussions with them right now to be able to handle their product, not only from a transportation standpoint, but also having added value services in that area for Lordstown Motors. Very excited about that because that's a different type of niche for North American that we previously haven't been in. Also, and this is the one I'm super excited about, is Rivian. This is taking place in Normal, Illinois, a perfect fit for the network that we're looking to develop in the Midwest. But this will be handling large product, Amazon distribution vans, and they're electric. So they're big vehicles. This will be a tremendous opportunity for growth. We bid on 10 states, 10-state territory, and that's out of 48 states. I mean, their plan is to service all of North America by truck out of that particular manufacturing plant. So that represents tremendous growth opportunity for North American. There's basically 38 more states we could go after. So very excited about that opportunity going forward. With all that being said, our biggest thing, I'm asking you guys for help. We need some help recruiting. Mike spoke about some different opportunities for us to partner with truck driving schools. We are definitely going to take part in that new initiative. But I'm asking each one of you guys, if you know of somebody that wants to drive for a good company, we've been small, we've got tremendous growth opportunity, but we have to make sure that we have the drivers to support that. Mike's going to get us the trucks. We have to make sure we can get the drivers. So I'm asking each one of you to talk to your HR people, give people names, talk to your terminal managers. If you know somebody that wants to work for a great company, give them a name. We're looking for good people that are looking to work a long time for a company that's on the rise in this industry. So excited about that, but bring the names. We'll get them in seats. As we talk about that, and the last topic I'm going to hit on is operating metrics. Mike talked, and thank you, Mike, for congratulating the team because they do a good job. You know, load factor, all the major operating metrics. You guys are doing a tremendous job of making sure we get the cars delivered, the right cars delivered, on time. We still have to work on the on-time delivery a little bit, but I'm not going to say that's all our issue because the ups and downs we've experienced in the industry. But just be cognizant. I mean, dealers are starving for cars, and our job, our main purpose in this world is to make sure we get the car from that VDC to the dealership. That way, Mary can have her Christmas present for the year, and you know, you don't want to get it on January 1st if it's a Christmas present. So just keep that in mind. We're professionals at this, but on-time delivery is key to making sure we keep our customers happy. And the other thing is continue to make sure we're safe. You know, we've done a tremendous job in ensuring that each one of you go home every night safe and sound, to have dinner wherever. And I'm so proud of what you guys have done in the last 3 years, ever since I've been associated with you. We've had one injury. One injury is too many, but that's still a phenomenal record from an injury-free perspective. So congratulations, and I'll take Mike up on buying you guys lunch from the company. Just go tell your terminal manager to buy you lunch, and we'll make sure that we cover that bill. But but enjoy that time together, and just understand from the bottom of our heart, thank you for everything you've done for us in the last 3 years, done for yourself to help us solidify where we're at and where we want to be as an organization going forward, because the future is something that I'm really excited about, and the growth opportunities there. It's just for us to capitalize on going forward.
Thank you, Ricky, and thank you, Mike. We're going to transition over to a couple of questions we received from North American employees. The first question is for you, Ricky. It's from Lachey. She's asking, what additional businesses are we working to obtain?
Well, thank you, Lachey, for that question, and that's a great question. We're working on everything at this point. Specifically, I mentioned some very specific items that we're working on, specifically in the Shreveport area with Tesla, also with current customers that are coming into your facility in Shreveport. But overall, I mean, we're talking to auction companies. We think there's a tremendous opportunity with all the new entrants into the automotive market, being the EVs that Mike was talking about. As we think about the industry shifts that are getting ready to take place, we won't be on the forefront of that, whether it's we're hauling the vehicles for them, performing work at the plants for them, whatever it may be. We will design solutions for these people. So we're talking to these people on a monthly basis and trying to make sure that they understand who North American is and what our capabilities are as an organization. So as Mike pointed out, I don't think there's a more exciting time to be associated with North American. We've shrunk a little bit in the last 3 years, but the growth potential going forward is something that's actually beyond belief.
Awesome. Thank you, Ricky, and thank you, Lachey, for submitting a question. Our last question is from Andy, and this will go to you, Mike. With the amount of commercial vehicles at our location, will there be an opportunity to get better equipment to accommodate?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Andy. In my view, that's my number one priority. I talked about it a little earlier, and we're actually planning on, I'll call it the 1,000 trucks or bus plan that we're going to hopefully announce in the first quarter of next year. I've got to make sure and get the capital, but we're closing in, starting to get term sheets. I'm starting to feel more comfortable about that. Once we get the commitments, we can actually start placing the orders. The idea is that we'll have 1,000 new trucks and trailers as fast as we can build them, whether that's 2 years, 3 years, or 4. It'll be just limited by capacity of the customers. And certainly North American is going to be right up there with everybody else in the distribution pattern. What we're hoping is somewhere around the end of first quarter next year, let's say March, to be able to actually give schedules. And I can tell you that Ricky is a very effective negotiator for his team and trying to put them as a priority of getting equipment. So we're going to do our best to try to make that happen as quickly as we can. When we're trying to buy that many and everybody's screaming for new equipment, obviously there'll be some allocation process, but we certainly want to make sure and take care of our rocket ship growth division, which is North American right now. So I think you're in the right place at the right time. I'll throw out one other thing just as an idea for people. You'll run into competitors out there. Some of these are small mom and pops. They have their own equipment. They're struggling. If it's ever something you can do, ask those people if they want to sell their equipment to us and join the team. We'll bring them on, pay their equipment note off. We'll make them happy campers. We're adding equipment, we're adding drivers, and we're adding capacity, and we'll pay some kind of finder's fee. I'm sure they'll find $1,000 or something from HR as some sort of recruiting fee for you. So we want to get you the equipment, but we also want to make sure that we have adequate capacity so we're not turning down any business because we don't think it have enough drivers or enough trucks. And nobody has the growth potential in any of our companies that North American does. As a percentage, there's just no contest. You guys could double or triple easily over the next few years, almost every year. That's just the kind of growth potential that's there. And to do that, you're going to not only have to get equipment and drivers, you're going to have to get good equipment. So it's a great question. And I can promise you it's the #1 priority for me as the owner to get you exactly what you're asking for.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. And thank you, Andy. I wanted to thank Riki and Mike for their time today on the town hall and for giving us these updates. But more importantly, we want to thank you for joining. We really appreciate all your hard work and everything you've done for the company. And be on the lookout for the next town hall and make sure to submit your questions and comments that you would like answered. Have a great day.
Have a happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you.